First of all, I'll be talking about what exactly is an action class in Selenium and why do we use it. And then I'll discuss about the different methods under this action class. Moving further to the discussion, I'll teach you guys how to handle these actions in Selenium WebDriver. And finally, I'll wrap up this session by working on a demo. I hope the agenda was clear to you guys. And I suggest you to subscribe to the Edureka channel to never miss out any video on the trending technologies and kickstart your learning. And also don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification for the latest updates on this channel. So let's start the discussion by learning about what is an action class in Selenium. Action class is based on a builder design pattern which basically builds a composite action with the aggregation of a Selenium WebDriver, where the WebDriver is only used to identify the presence of web elements on the web page. Action is a way in which something works, but in Selenium, actions class is based on the builder design pattern, which basically helps in building a composite action with the help of Selenium WebDriver, where the WebDriver is only used to identify the presence of the web elements on the web page. Selenium provides API to automate the keyboard events, mouse events, drag and drop feature, and so on. And this can be achieved using the action interface and the action class. The action interface is only used to represent a single user interaction, that is to perform the series of actions termed by this actions class. It contains the actions and the action class which are needed while executing the events. So this is about the actions class in Selenium. Now let's understand the importance of this actions class in Selenium. This actions class is mainly used to handle the actions that can be performed on the keyboard, mouse, drop down, drag and drop, and so on. This class mainly focuses on the user-facing API for emulating complex user gestures. This API also includes actions such as drag and drop, clicking multiple elements, double click, right click on the mouse, and so on. Okay, so this is why we need the actions class in Selenium. Now let's take a look at the different methods that are available in this actions class. Like I mentioned earlier, this actions class controls the mouse and the keyboard functions like the click action, click and hold action, double click action, double tap action, key down, key up, and so on. So let's learn about them in detail. First, we'll start learning about the keyboard interface. Okay, so this keyboard interface has these methods. It has send keys, it has key down, it has key up. Let's learn about them in detail. Send keys are used to send a series of keystrokes onto the web element. For example, if you find a search box or a text box on the web page, you can inspect the element and get the ID of it and send keys to that particular element. That can be done using this send keys method. Now, what is a key down method? Key down method sends a key press without releasing it. So this basically allows to press the key. So this key down method basically helps in pressing the key. For example, keys.shift, keys.control, and so on. Now let's discuss about the key up method. Key up method is used to release the key. Okay, for example, key release. Now let's discuss about the mouse events in Selenium. There are a few methods under this mouse events, say click, which simply clicks on the element, double click, which helps in double clicking on the web element, context link. This is something new. This context click performs a context click, that is a right click on a web element. Click and hold. It clicks at the present mouse location without releasing it. Drag and drop. I think you guys might have wondered how to drag and drop a particular element on the web page using Selenium. So this drag and drop feature can be achieved in Selenium by using this actions class. So let's see what this drag and drop is all about. This method invokes the click and hold at the source location and moves to the location of the target element before releasing the mouse. It basically has two fields, which is the source and the target. Source holds the location of the element that has to be grabbed, and the target holds the element that has to be released. Okay, So this is about the drag and drop method. Now let's take a look at the drag and drop by method. This has basically three attributes. This drag and drop by method performs click and hold at the source location by shifting to the given offset horizontally or vertically. Okay, so this is about the drag and drop by method. Now let's move on and understand what is a move by offset method. This method shifts the mouse from its current position to the given offset. It can either be horizontal offset or the vertical offset. Now let's take a look at the move to element method. This move to element method helps in shifting the mouse to the center of the element that has to be located. Okay. Now what is the release method? This method releases the depressed left mouse button at the existing mouse location. That is, it releases the left mouse button. And in some applications, we may face a situation where you have to automate the drag and drop an item from one location to another location. We could not achieve this using the basic elements that are present on the web page. But Selenium has provided an actions class to handle this kind of scenarios. So we can overcome this using the drag and drop method. To execute this drag and drop feature in Selenium, we require two attributes, that is namely the source locator and the target locator. The syntax goes something like this. It says action.drag and drop, specify the source locator and the target locator, and build and perform. Okay, so this is about the drag and drop method in the actions class. In some cases, we might want to right click on the element to get more options. To do that, we use the context click method in the actions class. Okay, so this is everything you need to know about the methods in the actions class. Now let's move on to the interesting part of this session, a demo on how to handle the action class in Selenium. For that, we require the latest version of Java in our system and also an IDE where we can perform the actions. So this is the Eclipse workspace, guys. In this case, I've already written the piece of code so that you can understand how exactly the action class work. So the very first thing you need to do when you want to test an application using Selenium is to set the browser driver. In this case, I'm going to consider using the Chrome driver. So I'm going to set the system property to the Chrome driver and also specify the path in which it exists, followed by the extension chromedriver.exe, which specifies that it's an executable file. Once you finish this, we have to instantiate the browser driver with the new Chrome driver. And once you do this, let's get the URL of the web page. In my case, I'll be considering working on the official website of Edureka, that is www.edureka.co. And I'll maximize the screen using this command driver.manage.window.maximize. That is the object of the WebDriver. Manage the window maximize. So this command helps in maximizing the window. And once you do this, let's add the implicit wait command here, which basically helps to wait for the complete page to load. So this will be for 10 seconds because the time unit is in seconds. Okay. And after this, I'm going to pause the execution using the thread.sleep command. That is in milliseconds, so it will be 3000 milliseconds. And after this, I'm going to create the object of the actions and instantiate it with the new actions that is linked with the driver. Okay. This actions might throw up an error, so just add the packages to the project. And after you instantiate the actions with the driver, let's perform the operations on this actions class. I think you guys have understood what is the move to element method in the actions class. Okay. So this move to element helps in shifting the mouse to the center of the element. So we'll move the element to this particular location. So let's inspect our web page, edureka.co. Okay, so first we'll start working on the drop down. Okay, so I want this particular location. So I'll inspect this. Location. Okay, this comes under the class. Okay, you can see that the ID is present, which is an element locator in Selenium. So I'm just going to copy this ID and go back to my project and paste it here. Okay, as you can see, I'll find the element by its ID. Do consider writing build.perform, which basically helps in compiling and execution. Okay, So this is the function of the build.perform function. Now, after we find the element on the web page, we'll pause the execution for 3 seconds using the thread command. Okay. And once this is done, we are going to find another element on the web page. Let's go back to our web page. So under this, let's say you want to search for this particular element, that is the software testing. So I'm going to inspect this software testing. Okay, as you can see, the link text is present, but in some cases link text might not work. So I'll try using the CSS selector because ID is present. So I'll just copy this and go back to my project and paste it over here. Okay. After you find this element, we need to link it with the builder, which is the object of this actions class. Okay. So we'll do that using this command builder.move to the element and specify the object of this web element, that is link.build and perform, which helps in compiling and executing. And once you move to this element on the web page, we'll pause the execution for 2 seconds. Okay. And after this, say you want to click on the software testing. So let's see how you can do this. Just go here. Say you want to click on the software testing. How to do that using Selenium? Let's go back to our project. Let's try inspecting this. As you can see, the ID is present and this is a subclass of li, which is a subclass of the ul. Okay. So let's try writing the XPath to this location. So I'll write Control F, where I'll consider writing the parent class first and then write the child class. So I'm going to copy this parent class and I'm going to write ul, where class is equal to this and the child class, and also specify the class of this. See, as you can see that the drop down is selected over here and it comes under A, where text equals, like I mentioned, the link text won't work at some point. So I'm just going to copy this text. Okay. You can see that I made a mistake here. Okay. I had to take out the annotation here. So this is a unique location on the web page. So I'm just going to copy this location of the web element and go back to my project and paste it over here. And I'm going to click the particular location. Okay. And after I click the element, I'm going to pause the execution for 4 seconds. Okay. And after that, I'm going to create another object of the web element called act, where I'll be searching this particular location, that is the search box. Okay. The search box has the ID. So I'm going to copy this ID and go back to my project and find the element by ID. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, we need to link the actions class to the web element. So I'm going to write builder.move to element and specify the object of the web element act.build.perform. Okay. And once you find the element, that is the search box on the web page, I'm going to pause the execution for 3 seconds and then try to send keys to them. And once you get the location of the search box, we need to click on the search button. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to consider finding the element. Let's go back to our project. Okay, this search box is what we want to search. So this has class, which has the ID present. Okay, but I'm going to try writing XPath to it. So I'm going to write the XPath to this particular location. So this comes under the span, where class is equal to this. Okay, this is a unique address. So I'm going to copy this and go back to my project and paste it over here. Okay. So this search button needs to be clicked. So we'll see how to do that using the actions class. And like I mentioned earlier, we need to link the actions to this web element. So I'm going to use this particular command and pause the execution for 3 seconds. And after this, I'm going to create an object of the action class, not the actions. Okay. And then I'll be creating an interface called action and name this interface as series of actions. Okay. And this interface can control the entire actions class. Okay. So after specifying the series of actions class, I'm going to instantiate it with the builder, and then I'm going to perform some actions. Okay. As you can see that these are the methods that we just saw. That is the send keys method, key down, key up. Okay. So these methods can be called using this action interface. So I'm going to consider the object of the actions class, that is the builder dot send keys to act. What is act? Act is the web element that is used to find the search box or the text box, and I'm going to send keys as Selenium. Okay, so I'm going to send keys to the search box in the web element, and then I'm going to perform the action called key down. Key down helps in pressing the key, so I'm going to press the key, that is search. Search is used to find the element, that is the search button. Okay, so this search button is pressed using the key down function, and then I'm going to perform the shift operation. That is, it helps in clicking. Okay, so this helps in pressing the key, and then I'm going to perform the key up action, which helps in releasing the key. Okay, so this search box, key shift. Okay, and after this I'm going to build it and perform. So I'm going to specify the series of actions, which is an interface of actions class, and perform. And then I'm going to pause the execution for 3 seconds and quit the driver execution. So I'll just save it and run it. Okay, it first has to navigate to the edureka.co page, maximize the page, and then search for the drop down, pause the execution and click on the software testing, and then it has to search for the search box and send keys to it, Selenium, and clicks. Okay, so this is how the actions work in Selenium. Now let's understand how the drag and drop feature works in Selenium. Okay, so I've already written a piece of code here so that you understand it properly. In this case, I'll be testing a generic web page, that is jQuery UI. Let's check out this web page. Okay, so this page mainly deals with drag and drop. You can see that there is a frame here under which there is drag me to the target and dropped. So this is how the drag and drop feature works in Selenium. One thing you need to know about this drag and drop feature is it can only drag and drop the web element. You cannot drag the file from the folder and drop it on the web page. That doesn't happen. It only works within the current web page. Okay, that's how Selenium works, right guys? It just drags this source and drops it to the target location. Okay, let's see how you can do this using Selenium. So this is a software which mainly deals with drag and drop feature. Okay, so I'll go back to my project and just explain you guys how this works. As you can see that this drag and drop feature exists within the frame. Okay, so if you inspect it, you can see that there is page source and frame source. Okay, so I'm going to click on the frame source. Okay, you can see that the HTML code is present here. Okay, now if you click anywhere else outside this, you can't find the frame source here. You can only view the page source or the inspect option, but inside this you can view the frame source. Okay, so everything inside this frame is considered as an object. So when you inspect this element, you can find the ID is present. You can see that the ID is present, but the very first thing you need to do when you want to search for this particular location is to switch to this particular frame. Okay, so this exists under the frame. See, you can see that the iframe exists here, which holds this particular frame in it. Okay, so this is just another division in the frame. So first you need to switch to this frame. So to do that, I'm going to switch to the frame and specify the frame value as 0. So it switches to the particular frame. And after that, I'm going to find the element using its ID. As you can see that the ID is present, which is a element locator in Selenium. So I'll go back to my project and create an object of the web element and find the element using the ID. The same goes with the target element as well. So I'm going to create an object of the web element, call it target element, and find the element using the ID. Okay, you can see that the ID is present here. Yeah, so I'll copy this ID and go back to my project. And after you find the location of the source element and the target element, we need to perform actions on them. That is the drag and drop feature. So to do that, I'm going to create an object of this actions class and call it action. And I'm going to instantiate it with the new actions where I'll be linking the driver along with it. And after I do this, I'm going to pause the execution for 3 seconds so that you can clearly see what is happening. And after this, I'm going to consider the object of the actions class, that is action, and I'm going to use the drag and drop method to perform the action. So in this case, you need to mention the source element as well as the target element. And the syntax goes something like this. It asks for the source element and the target element. Okay. In our case, the object of the source is the source element and the target is the target element. So I'm going to build and perform this function, and I'm going to pause the execution for 3 seconds so that you can see that the drag and drop function is working. And after this, I'm going to quit the driver execution. You can also use this command here, which I've used this as a comment. You can click and hold the source element and move to the target element. And then I'm going to release the clicked button on the mouse and build and perform. Even this function works, guys. Okay. So let's save this and run it. It first navigates to the page, searches for the target and the source element and drags the source to the target. Okay. And closes the web execution. So this is everything you need to know about the actions class in Selenium. If you want to learn more about Selenium WebDriver, don't forget to take a look at the Edureka Selenium playlist. Thank you for watching this video. Happy learning!
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!